Happy Monday, guys. We're gonna be doing roast chicken today. I got a lot of feedback from people saying that they ruin roast chicken or they don't know how to do it or it's intimidating because it's a whole chicken and what do you do with all of that? And there's bones and there's this and there's that. So hopefully I'm gonna take a whole bunch of the mystery out of roast chicken. I do mine at a higher oven temperature. A lot of chefs will say go low and slow. There's some personal preferences here. I'm gonna show you what I like to do. Additionally, we are going to be doing a butternut squash and orzo salad. You will recognize that there are similar components to other things that I have cooked in the last week and a half or so. I do that for a lot of different reasons, but the main one is budget. If you shop at Costco, you get giant bags of things, and so you're learning how to reuse them in many different ways over the course of their time in your fridge. All right, so we have our chicken out of the bag. It's kind of drying off a little bit. We are gonna pat it dry. I do wanna show you what we're gonna be seasoning the chicken with. I said salt and pepper, but I lied. There's actually going to also be a tiny, teeny, itty bit of sugar. And that is gonna help the skin get beautifully brown and caramelized. It's not gonna make it sweet. It's just going to add that little je ne sais quoi. It's what honey does when you're glazing a salmon. So I've got probably a tablespoon of salt here. I don't know if we're gonna use it all. Another hot tip when you're dealing with raw meats of any kind is just to prevent yourself from going in and out of your seasonings with disgusting raw meat hands. Put your seasonings into a cup, don't overdo it, so that you can just toss this at the end in case you're kind of incapable, which is me, of making sure that everything stays clean along the way. So I probably put half a teaspoon of sugar, not even, okay? I'm also going to crack my pepper right into that bowl, again, to prevent me from cross-contaminating my kitchen. My boards, the food, the counter, everything. I am a complete freak over washing hands and keeping things disinfected. So anything I can do to keep that under control. I also have half garlic and half of a Mayer lemon. Those are gonna go in the inside of the sucker. All right, so I'm drying my chicken. Just some paper towels. All right, and now I am under the full understanding that I'm gonna end up with chicken hands, which means that I am not touching anything other than the chicken and the things on this cutting board, on the plastic cutting board, to keep my kitchen clean. So I'm just gonna set the paper towel aside. I'm gonna take some of the seasoning mixture that we put together and put it on the inside of the chicken, hot tip. I am also going to separate the skin a little bit at the top, and I'm going to throw a little bit kind of down and rub that around right onto the chicken breast, because the flavor doesn't really go all the way through from the skin down onto the meat. So you kind of want to make sure that you are well seasoned all over. For me personally, it's hard to over salt a roasted chicken because that's really all going to be on the surface and all making that crispy, delicious chicken skin, which we all know is the best part. So while you're chickeny, take your citrus, throw it down in there, take some garlic, throw it down in there, finish off with your Mayer lemon. All right, the next thing that we need to do is make the chicken an even shape. The best way to do that is to truss up the legs. Okay. Kind of cross them over. I cut my string ahead of time. I should have shown you guys that, but just like with the pork roast the other day, you want to cut that up ahead of time. So you have it. Some people and fancy chefs will do a string around and really do it tight. All I like to do is to tuck my wings underneath like this. It kind of takes a little bit of effort. You might have to fight them a little bit. Tuck your wings underneath. Okay, and you've made yourself a nice little compact chicken ready to go into the oven. Some options. You can put vegetables underneath your chicken. If you want potatoes with your roast chicken instead of a salad, if you want roasted carrots or parsnips or beets even, throw those on the pan and then throw the chicken on top. The chicken juices will go into those vegetables and make them absolutely mouth-watering, and they're very, very difficult to ruin. So in the meantime, I'm gonna leave this guy here. I'm gonna wash my hands, get my pan ready. All right, back for our salad, loose because it's a carb and a salad all in one, but I like that mix. Butternut squash, the same bag of spinach we've been working on for about 2 weeks. I told you, I shop for like 2 weeks at a time typically, so we use it all. Oh, that feta cheese again. That's why I bought a big container, because I knew I was gonna use it. You could also use goat cheese, you could also use blue cheese, you can use whatever you have, you can also leave it out. Bacon, because why not? Dressing is going to have Dijon, cider vinegar, maple syrup, and a little bit of shallot. And then the grain, you can do anything. My kids are on an Orzo kick, and I am not going to rock that boat. You can use farro, which I love. I mean, that would be my first choice, but I'm not always fully in charge. You could use couscous, you could use barley, you could use rice, you could use black rice. Basically what I'm saying is this is a choose your own adventure. Okay. Butternut squash is one of the easier squashes to prep. Acorn squash is such a turd. I love it, but I don't like peeling it at all. And I don't usually. That one I just cut into wedges and roast. We are a squash loving family. Finally, my kids hated squash for a long time now. They like it. So I tend to buy it when it's in season every week. I love buying it pre-cut. I'm telling you, I love it. I don't like doing this part, but it didn't look good, so I didn't buy it. Don't buy stuff at the store that doesn't look amazing. If it doesn't look like it's gonna make the day at the store, it's not gonna make it 3 or 4 days to when you've decided to have that meal. Yeah, I mean, if it's like a little softer on the edges and you really need the convenience, cook it that day. All right, so squash is peeled. I have sliced the top off, sliced that in half. I have the bottom part. Okay, we just have to scoop the seeds out of there. I may or may not use the bottom part today. I just want to see how much squash I get from just the top of the neck of the squash. So the reason I cut it in half this way so that I have a nice flat surface, it makes it much easier to get a nicer cut out of it if you start on a flat side. So I'm gonna go with maybe about half-inch planks of squash. Okay, and the reason I'm doing planks is because then you can kind of turn it over, get another cut, get another cut. So now I have these like long stalks. Okay, and this guy, that end cut off. Okay, and then you can just kind of turn it to the side, and then you go boop, 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 and you have diced squash. So that's kind of how you turn a round thing into a square thing. So I'm not auditioning for Top Chef. These are not perfect, but hey, they're good enough for me. Oh, I do want to say something about the order of operations here. I am cooking in real time. Yes, I'm doing videos and I'm kind of editing things, but I'm cooking in real time. The chicken needs to go in the oven first because it takes the longest. You always order the way you're doing things in the kitchen by the length of time that it is going to take. So the chicken's going to take the longest, it goes in first. The squash is going to take the next longest, it goes in second. After that, once those things are in the oven, then we worry about the rest of the components of the salad. Got me? Okay, good. All right, wild one over here, decided to just cut up the whole squash. I'll use the rest of this. I'm not gonna use it all tonight. I'm gonna use the rest of it for my lunches and different things like that. I just love squash, so I can toss that into a sandwich or on a salad. I mean, if you guys actually have never put something like butternut squash onto a panini press, you know, with like a little bit of cheese, I don't even know where you've been. That's delicious. So salt and pepper. You know what I actually really like with squash is garlic powder. I'll be right back. I think I need a Costco sponsorship. Just saying. Okay, just like a sprinkle. You'd think, wait, squash is sweet. Why would you put garlic? Well, this salad is a sweet/savory salad. It actually has all of the components that we talked about last time that a salad needs. All right, I actually just stuck a glug of olive oil, I don't know, a couple tablespoon, glug, literally a glug, onto the squash, and I'm using my hands, because they're your best tools, to make sure that each piece has oil on it so it's not going to stick. There's not going to be much like fat going into this salad aside from the bacon and a little bit of cheese, so I don't feel particularly bad about making sure that I have enough olive oil on these that they get really crispy, they get a nice golden color to them. I'm not looking for steamed squash, like mushy squash. I'm actually looking for crispy, crunchy, a little bit caramelized squash, which is why you need to make sure that you have enough oil. Otherwise you get steamed squash, and that's fine, but not what we're looking for. All right, bacon time. So this is our next thing that needs to get cooked. So I like scissors with bacon as opposed to a knife, okay, for cutting it, not just for getting in the package. So we're gonna use 2-3 slices of bacon. It's not a meat salad, it's a accoutrement, shall we say. It's a crispy, salty, textural component as well as flavor. So now I have bacon in hand, so I'm gonna keep going with the bacon, and I'm just gonna set this aside. Okay. The reason I like scissors with bacon is because you can make lardons, that's the French word for like tiny 1-inch cuts of bacon, extremely easily with scissors. See, you just cut it. Because bacon, when it's warm, which this isn't warm, it's right out of the fridge, but if it's not frozen, it's one of those things that's slimy, it's slippery, it wants to run away from you when you're cutting it. So make your life easy, use scissors. And I'm not the first person to do this. I'm pretty sure Alton Brown or Ina Garten or, you know, one of the other absolute goats of cooking showed me how to do this, but I have never gone back. So, hot tip. Alright, while the bacon is rendering and the chicken is cooking and the squash is cooking, we can start with some bits of the dressing. So, apple cider vinegar, I think I'm going to do about 2 tablespoons. Cap is really on. Alright, so 1, 2, not something I usually measure, but because I'm showing other people things I do, I'm gonna try to batten down the hatches a little bit. Maple syrup, probably 1 tablespoon. You don't want this overly sweet. We've got the squash already, but we'll see. We're gonna taste it. So if you want it sweeter, go sweeter. If you want it saltier, go saltier. If you want it more acidic, go more acidic. I'm not going to be in your kitchen tasting your food necessarily. I mean, because COVID. I wish I was in your kitchen. I wish I was tasting your food. Okay, here's gonna be an unpopular opinion. I actually really don't like mustard, but I cook with it. I typically don't put as much as the recipe calls for because I will not be showing you a mustard crusted anything ever. But in salad dressings, mustard is an emulsifier, so it helps bring it together. And also with bacon and maple syrup and apple cider vinegar, there is something that mustard really brings to the party. If you like mustard, this is your opportunity to add as much as you want. I'm not a big fan, so I'm putting that much in, okay? And that's good for me. And more, and I would probably be like, oh, no thank you. You know, and also if your kids don't like it, you can leave it out. It's just gonna be a little bit less tangy. It's gonna be missing something. Not atrociously, just something. Next is gonna be a little bit of shallot. I just chopped it in half. I debated whether or not you cared about this part. And I think, I don't know, maybe not a lot of people use shallots. They are French, I guess. You can find them at basically every grocery store. Definitely in New England, if you're at Market Basket or Hannaford, you can find them. Definitely Whole Foods. I mean, definitely Whole Foods. They're like a cross between a garlic and an onion. They have a separate, slightly sweeter flavor. I love them in salad dressing. I'm gonna give this guy a small dice. So, leaving the root end just like you would an onion. I'm doing long slices first. Like that. Can you see that? Like that. And now I'm gonna go crossways. And I think I'm gonna stick with just half, literally. I think it'll be fine. Right into the bowl. Oh, that shallot is making me cry a little. It's right in here with everything else. It's gonna sit, it's gonna kind of come together, and then the bacon fat's gonna go in, and that's gonna be the basis for our salad. If it needs more, I'm gonna add more because I'm gonna taste as I go along, and I highly encourage everyone to do that too. All right, so bacon was done, so I scooped that out. That's on a paper towel over here. Bacon. And this is the oil, the fat, bacon fat. This is actually very special here. It should be revered. We are gonna take 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of it. You want a little bit more fat than acid in your salad dressings. Even is fine, even Steven is fine. 2 would be fine if you're like, oh, that's too much. But I like that, I think. I'm gonna taste it and find out. Because maybe I need more acid now. Grab a spoon. Don't worry, it's fine. All right. Oh no, that's amazing. It is tart, sweet, a little bacony, and it's got that onion garlic vibe from the shallot. This is exactly what we want. I dare you not to eat squash when it comes out of the oven. It's so good. Salad time. Sorry, that was really lame, right? Okay, anyway. So we're gonna start with your cooked grain of choice. Mine is Orzo. I made 1.5 cups. It's more than what I need because I'm gonna hold some back plain for the small people that live in my house who may initially look at that salad and say, no, thank you, mommy. So we are gonna take most of it. I'd say probably 1 cup cooked of Orzo, almost went flying, and get that into the hot dressing so it has a chance to absorb. Next, I want to put the spinach in so that it has a chance to wilt a little bit. I like a lot because it will kind of shrink, but I'm going to leave myself a little for my lunch tomorrow. I'm on a complete spinach kick. All right, next, and just, you don't have to mix anything yet. Next is the squash. I mean, I guess in this case, the order of operations isn't exactly crucial. I'm just actually trying to have hot stuff all over the spinach, so it does wilt a little bit. And actually, I'm gonna hold back a little bit of squash for the kids plain also. I think that they'll eat the squash out of the salad, but you never know. And if your kids are picky, it's okay to hold back components of things and present them with all of the pieces of a salad versus all together mixed up. I mean, we've all been through phases where we don't want our food to touch. I mean, at some point. Okay, let's taste it. I just did, and I realized I need to share that. Okay, so I'm checking for salt. I'm checking for acid. I'm checking for anything that's missing. Right now I know it's missing the feta cheese. It needs a little salt, but I'm not going to add salt. I'm going to add the cheese. So This is also your secret kitchen snack. It's really freaking good. Sweet, bacony, really good mouthfeel, really good texture. What I mean by that, crispy, smooth, a little bit rich from the bacon and the bacon fat. And so now I'm gonna add the feta and maybe some cracked black pepper. And I think we're there on that. All right, I've cracked some pepper in. This is too much feta. I'm gonna probably take like a chunk of that. Okay, like this much. I don't know, probably half a cup, less. Crumble that in. Wipe my hands off. Okay, toss that in. I wish you could smell this. Okay. If you were feeling super extra, you could add chopped nuts, you could add dried cranberries. This could definitely be a meal. So don't feel bad. I mean, this is the start of the show, and this is definitely my lunch tomorrow. So everything that we cook is going to get eaten.
Like a leaf in here, huh? Mmm. That's really good.
All right, it's time to carve the chicken. This is, for many people, the hardest part. So here she is. We are gonna move the chicken from the pan to a cutting board. I have a plastic cutting board that has wells. I'm gonna keep this pan that's full of chicken juices to put all my chicken pieces into. That way they go back into something that's nice and moist. Okay, put that over there. All right, I like to start with the strings. Okay. I like to take a leg. Oh, it's falling apart. It's gonna be good. So we have a pan full of cut up chicken here, and now I'm just gonna serve my kids, serve myself, and I'll show you a picture of the finished product. Good job, guys. We did it.